Hello, how are you doing? Here in the Northern Hemisphere, the days are getting darker sooner, and today here in London, I feel like we've barely seen the sun at all. And as my t-shirt says, I'm just a girl who loves books and Christmas. And in that spirit, I want to make some recommendations of great books that I think would make wonderful Christmas presents for your loved ones or for yourself, because I'm a big proponent of this school of thought of treat yourself, and I often buy myself books when I need a little pick-me-up, even though I've shelves filled with books to get to. Considering a lot of the rubbish a lot of people buy for themselves, I think a book is a wonderful thing to treat yourself with or to give at Christmas. So I have a big pile of recommendations I want to go through, from small books and things that will be good stocking stuffers, other books that are Christmas specific and related that are wonderful to read around this holiday season, and then another group of books that are just absolutely beautiful books that I think are some of the most stunning physical editions of books that have been published this year, and that I will be giving away to friends and family this holiday season. So starting off, I am going to recommend two books. You knew this was coming. 50 books to read if you are a hopeless romantic, and 50 books to read if you're an armchair detective, written by yours truly. These lists of books in a certain genre that I've picked and written summaries of with lots of fun information about them. Each title has a little illustration next to it, and they just look really lovely, and they're meant to be interactive, that you can give star ratings as you're reading along these books and picking out which ones you want to read next. There are sections at the end where you can include notes and thoughts or copy down quotes from some of these different books. And I'm just meant them as a way to give a wide range of ideas and suggestions of books, some that are classics, some that are more contemporary, some are very popular books, some are slightly more obscure. So hopefully, if you enjoy one or both of these genres, you'll find a book new book to you that you'll really enjoy. And they're nice, small, and compact, so really perfect stocking stuffers. I mean, when I was approached and commissioned to write these books, they were kind of sold to me as that they would be great stocking stuffers, and it's absolutely true. I think they will be, and almost everyone I know will be getting copies of this Christmas season. Next, in the spirit of lists of books, and also a really compact, gorgeous little new book called What Writers Read, 35 writers on their favorite books, edited by Pandora, Sykes. And so this is a collection of essays, very short essays, and very fun and engaging essays of writers just geeking out about their favorite books. And because I'm a nosy person, I love to hear about what authors' favorite books are and what have really inspired and shaped them as writers, and what they feel envious of and wish that they could have written themselves. Also, all of the proceeds of the profits of this book go to the National Literacy Trust, which inspires future readers. So it's a really good charitable cause as well. And makes a great little compact stocking stuffer. Another wonderful little thing that would make a great stocking stuffer is not a book, but a game focused on authors, which is the Writer's Game. And this is Top Trumps for modern authors. Now, if you've never played Top Trumps before, so there is a card for each individual writer with a number of set categories, and each writer gets scores in those different categories. Now, you divide the deck amongst the players, and then you reveal your card, picking one of the categories to go against the other writer before revealing the scores for each of those authors' cards. And then you try to gain the full whole deck of authors. And so yeah, this is something I only learned after moving to England, Top Trumps. I never played it when I was in America, but it's a really fun game. If you're a book geek and you love authors, this is a wonderful thing to play, especially around the festive season with friends or families or a loved one. You can play it with one or multiple players, and so yeah, it's really good for all of those things. And you can get some really fun pairings. So how does Jack Kerouac fare against Agatha Christie? Well, in terms of adaptations, Agatha Christie absolutely wins. Then I have a group of books that are all festive in the nature of their stories. First off is another quite small, compact book, which is Stories for Christmas and the Festive Season. This is part of the British Library Women Writers series, and it includes short stories that are all set around the festive season by authors such as Alice Munro, Maeve Binchy, Muriel Spark, Stella Gibbons, Beryl Bainbridge, and many others. It's got a really gorgeous festive cover, and these are all tales that celebrate the joy and exhaustion of the festive season. Next is a bigger hardback book that is really beautiful, which is the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories from Hans Christian Andersen to Angela Carter, and the cover of this is just really beautiful and blue, and it includes a wide range of authors from Dostoevsky to Chekhov to O. Henry, Langston Hughes, Ray Bradbury, Shirley Jackson, and Tove Jansson. And as you can see, I've been ticking off some of these different short stories as I've been reading them aloud to my husband before bedtime. Also, I want to recommend as a separate book because I love this short story so much. It's one of my favorite Christmas stories. It's A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote. This is a short story he published in a magazine, first in 1956. It is a true classic in that it's a tale about a boy recalling his very strong friendship with a much older woman, and how every Christmas they would get together and make fruitcake together, and the whole process of baking this and gathering the ingredients. And it's so funny and dramatic. And at Christmas a couple of years ago, I read this short story aloud in its entirety in a video. So I'll link that below if you want to watch that and get in the festive spirit. And then finally in this group, I have to recommend again the very short novella Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, which was first published a year ago. I immediately thought of it as a new Christmas classic. And the story of this set in rural Ireland in the 1980s, in the time just before Christmas, and a man that's making fuel deliveries, and he makes a discovery about his small town and a secret about his small town, and the consequences of that. It is so moving and powerful, and I'm so glad that this novella has gone on to be so successful and be listed for the Booker Prize, and so many people have read it and loved it. If you haven't experienced it yet, I mean, believe the hype. It is so good. Finally, I have a group of books which are just beautiful. I mean, they're wonderful stories, but also as aesthetic objects, I think they are just gorgeous, and anybody would love to receive them, even if they don't get time to read them. So first off, one of the biggest novels published this year that's already been so successful, I don't know anyone who's read it and hasn't absolutely loved it. It's Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, and this UK edition I have with the gold foil on the outside and this beautiful deep blue and black is just so gorgeous, and this story is so immersive and wonderful. If you want to read a big epic novel that you can just get completely lost in, then I definitely recommend this story, which follows the course of a life of a boy from his childhood in an abusive and difficult household to going into foster care and then trying to strike out independently for himself. And the trajectory of his life to his young adulthood is so moving and powerful, and says something really important about the state of America today, as well as larger issues to do with life and struggle, and it's just so wonderful. And I love in this hardback edition that it comes with a blue ribbon, which just always makes it feel like I'm reading such an important book, when I keep my place in the novel with a blue ribbon. Another another one of the most beautiful books published this year is Ali Smith's new novel, Companion Piece, this UK edition with the purple hardback and then this wraparound of a David Hockney image of nature. It's just so beautiful, as is, the entire seasonal quartet that was published in this same style. So they all look beautiful alongside each other on the shelf. And yeah, this story is so moving too, of a female artist and her father is sick, and then she gets a call and her life is intruded upon by a former acquaintance of hers from university, and that acquaintance's family that just sort of impose themselves upon her life, as well as the spirit of this individual from centuries ago that was going through similar things that we're experiencing today. Also, one of the most beautiful and expensive books that I've bought for myself as a treat this year is Maggie O'Farrell's new novel, The Marriage Portrait, this Waterstone special edition of the book, this hardback edition, which doesn't come with a dust jacket because the hardback and the gold foil is so beautiful. And yeah, this is a story I'm hoping to lose myself in over the festive season when I'm on holiday. It's a story of a girl from the Medici family and how she is drawn into this marriage with a powerful man and all the complications of that, and how her portrait is made. And I can't wait to lose myself in this historical story and, snuggle up reading this beautiful edition. I think the festive season is also a great time to read short stories, and because, often we're pressed for time, don't have a lot of time, but it's a good thing first thing in the morning or just before bedtime to read a short story, like either to yourself or aloud to your family or loved one or to friends. And so a collection I'd really like to recommend that's been newly reprinted is Night Train to the Stars by Kenji Miyazawa. And look at this cover. I mean, it's so festive with the green and the red and the landscape. And yeah, it's just it's so beautiful. So this was a Japanese writer of the early 20th century. And this comes with a foreword by the great writer David Mitchell, who's obviously a big fan of Japanese culture and literature. And so these stories are kind of plays on classic tales. And so you'll recognize some sort of tropes and kind of moral messages in some of the stories, but then other stories are quite bizarre and surreal and really surprising. So yeah, wonderful newly reprinted collection. Also in this vein of classic tales and kind of fairy stories, I want to recommend a book which was given to me for Christmas several years ago by my wonderful cousin Martin, which is the complete Cosmicomics by Italo Calvino. And so in these short tales, he creates his own myth about the creation of our world and the universe, but they're informed and influenced by scientific facts, but they are also completely fantastical and magical and just so imaginative, and they're really wonderful to read aloud. And finally, two more absolutely gorgeous editions of books, but which are nonfiction and nature orientated. So there is A Line in the World by Dorothy Nors, and this Danish author writes about her experiences traveling down the coastline that she grew up on and that she currently lives in, but feels like something of an outsider still in this landscape, and is kind of examining the history and mythology of it, as well as the thoughts and beliefs and practices of the people that currently live there. It's a very meditative, beautiful journey, and yeah, just a very, very quiet and thoughtful book. And also, I just love this cover. I mean, it's so beautiful, isn't it? And finally, the title, which I think is just the most beautiful book which has been published this year, The Golden Mole and Other Living Treasures by Catherine Rundell, in this beautiful gold foil, and also the edges of the pages are gold. It is just simply beautiful, and I've talked about this book a number of times, how this is another collection which each chapter is only maybe like 4 to 5 pages long, focuses on a different animal. Some of them are exotic, some some are more familiar to us, but she describes all the wondrous aspects of these animals' natures and their makeup and their lives. And so they seem like absolute miracles, and you're kind of re-seeing the natural world through Catherine Rundell's informed viewpoint. And it's just so wonderful learning about them, but also she comments upon the environmental impact that is being had upon these animals, how sometimes their numbers are dwindling. So the book has an environmental message as well. Also, part of the proceeds of sales of this book are donated to an environmental charity as well. So, it's always like good to buy books that are helping out charities as well. But yeah, just such a beautiful book. I just love it so much. So those are all of my suggestions. Honestly, I think they would all make really great Christmas gifts and gifts for the festive season, or to give to yourself, as I said. But I would love to know in the comments below if you have your own recommendations of really great bookish Christmas treats you want to give away this festive season. I would love to hear about them. But I hope you're doing well and reading good things, that you have a wonderful festive season, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.